Yep. Once again, very good morning and thanks for joining. Okay. Over the last session Saturday, we spin the three VMs. One is DC, one is Node 1, one is Node 2, and we configure Active Directory. We configure Active Directory. We enable the domain controller, and we added the server as part of the domain, and we disable the firewalls, enable the ports. We installed .NET Framework 3.5 failure cluster manager in all. We enable the port, disable the firewalls, okay, and we created the iSCSI shared disk, and we initialize the disk in the node 1, node 2 also. So up to infrastructure level, our configuration is done. Okay, up to infrastructure level, the configuration is done. Do you have any questions? Anyone? No? Yes? Okay. If no questions, okay. Now without any time waste, let's start. See, this is our DC server. This is our node 1. Okay. This is our node 2. Node 2. Now first, before you go for C colon cluster, okay. First, we need to build the cluster. See, DC server is here in our lab practice. Okay, in our lab practice, DC server is acting as the Active Directory server or DNS domain controller server. DC server, Active Directory server, domain controller server. Okay, and it is also acting as SAN server, SAN storage. Now this is also acting as a cluster server. Please keep this in mind. Only when we are doing practice, okay, now this server is playing a crucial role. This server is making like everything. So this is like Active Directory server and domain controller server. This is like a shared SAN storage server, and it is also acting as a cluster server as well, because now we are going to configure the cluster. Okay. See, now node 1 is acting as a standalone server. Node 2 is also acting as a standalone server. Okay. Now we need to build a two-node cluster. See, I am going to build a two-node cluster. Hey, Subbu, we are having three servers, right? DC, Node 1, Node 2. Why can't you configure all these three servers as part of cluster? No, sir. Where I am going to install SQL Server only on Node 1, Node 2, not in DC. DC is like a treat like a cluster server also. Forget about its Active Directory server. Forget about its domain controller server. Now this server is acting as a cluster server. From this server, we are going to configure entire cluster. From DC server, we are going to configure cluster server. Sorry, we are going to configure cluster and including node 1, node 2 as part of cluster. Including node 1, node 2 as part of cluster means we are going to group the servers. We are going to group these servers, and we are going to provide the cluster name as batch 44. Okay, clue. Batch 44 clue. This is our cluster name. And we are going to pick any one of the IP address like 10.1.1.5 or 10. Some IP address will take the IP address and we will provide. So if we wanted to build a cluster, okay, you need node server details and you need cluster name, cluster IP address. So if you wanted to build a Windows failure cluster, you need how many nodes are going to part of cluster and what is the cluster name, what is the cluster IP address. Forget about active cluster, active passive cluster. That is when you installing SQL Server. Now first I am going to build a cluster. First we need to build a cluster. If we wanted to build a cluster, what are the major things you need to keep in mind? Everyone, how many nodes are going to part of cluster? How many nodes are going to part of cluster? And all the nodes are having a connectivity. Of course, connectivity is very important, sir. Okay, all the nodes are having connectivity. How many nodes are going for cluster? And all the nodes having connectivity or not? Or not? Next thing is, what is my cluster name? What is my cluster IP address? If you wanted to build a cluster, Windows failover cluster, means if you want to group the servers, then what is this server, Subbu? See, this configuration, whatever you are doing, the cluster configuration will be performed from this server. Okay, you will perform from this server. So this server is acting as a clustered server where you are going to configure, monitor, failover, failback, collecting the logs, everything you can do it from this server. You no need to connect to the node 1, you no need to connect to the node 2. Until unless you required, then you will go to the node 1, node 2 and you will collect the logs. If you no need, then you can do everything from this cluster. Now this cluster which is acting as a cluster VM for me. So where I'm going to configure cluster? From the DC server, I'm going to configure the cluster. Can I configure from node 2 or node 2, so node 1 or node 2? Yes, you can also do from here itself. So you don't need any separate. But as per the best practices in the real world, they will maintain one basic cluster VM to monitor, to configure, to fail over, to fail back, to collect the logs. Everything we will do from this VM only. We no need touch the production servers. We will do everything from here. Until unless you need to go and verify from the server level, we'll take RTP and we'll collect the logs. So here also same, sir. Now DC server is acting as a cluster server and node 1, node 2 is going to part of cluster. Is it understandable, everyone? Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now see, first thing first come, everyone need to understand all the servers which are going to part of cluster need to have failover cluster manager. First thing you need to verify is whether you configure or install failover cluster manager. How I can get it? If you click on just search failover cluster manager, yes, installed. Okay. Now in this server, failover cluster manager installed. Okay, this server where you are going to configure cluster, monitor cluster, everything. Okay, failover cluster manager. Okay, failover cluster manager installed. Okay, no, it's installed. Come on, yeah. Okay, or we can do one shortcut. Go to the run. Okay, go to the run and search for clue admin.msc. To open failover cluster manager, the simple shortcut is clue admin.msc. When you click on enter, it will open the failover cluster manager. Once you install the failover cluster manager, by default, you will get the one service. By default, you will get one service. What is that service? What is the service? Clustered service by default. By default, when you install failover cluster manager, by default, you will get the clustered service, and currently it isn't disabled and which is running in the local account only. You no need to change any service account, all the stuff, sir. Let it be local account. Let it be local account. So once you install failover cluster manager, by default, you will get the service for clustered service. Now, from this server, I am going to configure node 1, node 2. So if someone will ask, what are the major prerequisites if I want to build a cluster? Make sure that failover cluster manager is install all the servers which are going to part of failover clustering. Okay, and we need cluster name, cluster IP address, and all the servers having the communication. All the servers is having the communication. We'll talk, sir, about that communication in the upcoming classes in this week only. No worries. We will build one more server. We will build in the different network, and we'll make the communication between that two networks. We'll see all that practical. No worries. First, let's talk with the two node cluster. which is part of in the same subnet, same network. These two servers are in the same network, same subnet, and we are going to build a cluster. Next demo, upcoming demos, I will create one more network, one more subnet, and we'll try to configure. We'll try to configure the clusters and always on availability group. No worries on the stuff. Is it clear first? Okay. Now, node 1, node 2 is going to part of cluster. See, when you open dsa.msc, dsa.msc, so what do you mean by dsa.msc? Everyone? Active Directory, right? So if you wanted to open Active Directory, the very simple shortcut is dsa.msc. So when you go to the computers, I can see the node 1, node 2 as being part of NA domain. Node 1, node 2 is part of NA domain. And we'll also configure cross domain also in the upcoming classes. Don't think that much level. Anyhow, we'll have the practical session. We'll talk on the cross domain configuration. Let's go for single domain first to become strong in the technical. Okay, fine. Now see, I'm having only two computers. Okay, two node 1, node 2 details. And also you can open the DNS, mgmt.msc. Okay, this is the DNS server. Okay, DNS server. Every server, okay, every server, if you open every server, okay, is mapped to their IP addresses. So DC server, which is mapped to 10.1.1.4, node 1, which is mapped to 10.1.1.5, node 2, which is mapped to 10.1.1.6. Okay, every server is mapped to the respective IP address. You can access the server via server name. You can access via the IP address in real world. Here, you can try to access everything from the IP address only. Okay, here you won't see the public IP address. Here you will see only the private IP address. Here you will see only the private IP address. Whenever you see this IP address range, okay, easily we will get one understanding. See, whenever you see this IP address range, easily we will get one understanding is this is single subnet network because 10.1.1, 10.1.1, 10.1.1, these three masking is not changing, only last masking value is changing. That means, okay, this all are belongs to one network, one subnet only. One network, one subnet only. When you see 10.1.1, 10.1.1, 10.1.1.1. So you may also see the differences when you go to build the one more network, one more subnet. That we will talk, sir, in the upcoming classes. No worries. This is single network, single subnet cluster. So why we are doing all this search means to make better understanding, because sometimes in real world you don't have access to the DNS manager, you don't have access to the Active Directory, you can't see in real world. But at least when we are doing practice, we can check all this stuff. Okay, what is happening when I'm going to create a server? Every server is registering in the once the server is going to the domain, that domain information, the server information will be available in the Active Directory. Not only there, in every server, respect to IP address information will be in the DNS manager also. DNS manager also. Okay, let's see both. Minimize, sir, don't close it. Now, this is our failover cluster manager tool, like SSMS. Everyone knows SSMS, right? SQL Server Management Studio. Why SQL Server Management Management Studio, sir? If we wanted to play with our SQL Server database engine, we will work with the SSMS. And if you wanted to work with the Postgres, we will work with the PC Admin 4. If you wanted to work with the uh, MySQL Workbench, Workbench is a tool. Workbench is a tool. Okay. So we are having different tools to work with the database engines, to work with other technologies. Like say, if you wanted to work with the Windows failover cluster, one and only one tool called failover cluster manager. You can configure, you can monitor, you can fail over, you can fail back, you can remove, you can destroy, you can do whatever you want from this payload cluster manager. Okay, stop me if you're not understanding. Okay, don't simply sit idle. Now, so once you open the payload cluster manager, you can search payload cluster manager, or you can search for clueadmin.msc. You need to remember that clueadmin.msc, very important shortcut. This is how your payload cluster manager looks like. Now, I need to build a cluster. I need to build a cluster. So right click on the payload cluster manager, create the cluster, or in the right side panel, you are having create cluster. Either you can do from here or you can do it from here. Either you can do it from here, either you can do it from here. But as per the best practices, everyone don't straight away go and create the cluster. So, will I get a chance to create the cluster in real world? 70-30% chance. At 70% you won't get chance to create the clusters in real world. Only 30% you may also get, like not 30, 20 to 25% you will get a chance. 75% Windows team will take care all this stuff. Okay, here you don't have any team, you need to do it. No, don't create the cluster immediately. Okay, don't create the cluster immediately, because we don't know whether these servers are in the networks having the connectivity. Everything is storage, network, storage, infrastructure. We don't know how this server built by Windows team or built by you. We don't know, sir, exactly. So before you create a cluster, please validate the cluster. Please validate the cluster. This is very, very important. Even when you are going to create a cluster also, it will prompt you to validate. Okay, either you go for this one, it will prompt you to validate, or I don't want to first to go create. First, let's validate. With that validation, I can promote to create. I can ask to create. Okay. So, which is the best? Subhumi is first validates. As a database administrator, we are not that much strong in the networks or server connectivities, all this stuff, right? So before blindly go and create a cluster, first validate the cluster. Click on validate configuration. Okay, now you got this separate wizard which is going to validate. Now click on next. You no need to, yeah, okay. And what are the servers are going to part of cluster? Node 1. You remember node 1, comma node 2. Okay, you can mention all the servers which are going to part of cluster. Just click on add. Click on add. Now see, node1.na.com, node2.na.com. This technically you should call as a fully qualified domain name. Fully qualified domain name. Node 1 is my server name. na.com is my domain name. Fully qualified domain name. na.com is my domain name and node 1 is my server name. And these two servers are being part of domain. Node 1, node 2 is part of na domain. I can see from the Active Directory. Okay, fine, well and good. Now click on next. Okay, now run the selected test. You can run the selected test, but I won't recommend, sir. Run all the tests. Let's run all the tests. It will validate the cluster configuration, hypervisor configuration, inventories, network, storage, and system configurations. It will validate everything and it will provide one report for us. It will validate everything and it will provide one report for us. Now click on next. Okay, so let it be validate all this, or let it be validate all this. Then click on next. Now the validation has been started. Once this validation is done, okay, now when you go to open the C drive, let it be validated, sir. Go to the C drive and go to the program files. No, Windows, sorry. Go to the Windows. Go to the cluster tree. Once you install payload cluster manager, not only clustered services, there will be one folder will be created under the C under the Windows. That is nothing but cluster folder. Under the cluster folder, you can go to the reports. Under the reports, it will generate the validation report. Not here, sir, in the node 1 node 2. Because because this server is just cluster configuration, sir, nothing. This is our primary server. No program files, no. Windows. So Windows, cluster, reports. Okay, see, validate the store. It will do all the validation. Now it is performing, sir. Actually, it will provide the reports under cluster reports. Very important. You need to remember this path. Everyone need to remember this path. Let it be complete the validation. Okay. Meanwhile, any questions? Anyone?
So to do the cluster service will run from the our local service account or the service account which created by us.
You won't touch the service account of your cluster, sir. Let it be default. You should not change anything.
Okay.
Okay. In years ago, okay. I mean to say, in Windows Server 2005, 2003, okay, 15 to 10 to 15 years ago, cluster service is running with the service accounts. Cluster service is running with the service account. Now Microsoft completely make with the local account only. You no need to touch the cluster services. Let it be run with the local account. You no need to change any service account. But 10 to 15 years ago, your cluster services are running with the service accounts. Hey, hi, Sai. So now what exactly, Subbu, what exactly it is doing? Okay, where is currently all the discussor? Hey, come on. Where are my disks? Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, see, disks are going offline, coming online, going offline, coming online. Now now see what is happening is it is failoring, fail over, fail back. It will test everything, sir. All the disks are properly failoring, all the disks are fail backing. It will validate everything. Okay, it will validate the system configuration, it will validate the disk configuration, network configuration, inventory configurations, and it will finally provide the report for us. And it will finally provide the report for us. With that report, you can build the cluster. With that report, we can build the cluster. Let it be, sir. Oh, validation disk failover. The test report failure. It is. What? Is there any misconfiguration we done on the disk level? Think no, right? Let's provide the report, sir. Connected. It's connected to the ISPS initiative. Provide one. Almost done. Let's see. There is a failure, sir. Very difficult. And why there are two MS stages? I computed Z drive, L drive, Z drive. Okay, fine. Let's open my computer. Computer Z drive, L drive, M drive, Q drive, D drive, Z drive. Yeah, perfect. Let's see. View the report, sir. Click on view report. To raise parties fee. I especially your disk report or to disk online, but failure to attempt to write file data and partition to and 1 second, sir. I don't want to take little risk. Okay. Let's open event here. Where I'm in DC, not in DC. Sorry. I need to go into the node one. Node one or node two. Event viewer. Let me validate once the event your log and we'll try to configure. Filters, critical warning, errors, click on enter. Think today nothing warning. System. Yeah. Need to take offline and short term development. Check those responders. The cluster reports, what it is showing? Let's to be taken offline for the short term to perform smart fix and the checklist for works locally via command line, your value, prime letter. Why you need to do all this? Let's do one thing. Format all of this. 1 second, sir. Let me format all the disk, okay? Okay, let me do one thing. Let me close this report. Let me click on finish. Again, let's go on again, let's do validations one more time. Node 1, comma. This time I no need to do all the stuff. I need to do only the tests. Okay, storage. I don't want to do all the infrastructure, system configuration. Everything got passed out. Okay, run the selected test only. Then click on next. I want to do not network, inventory, system configuration, just storage. Okay, I'm doing just storage only. Let's click on next. If not, I will go, sir. I will go for repair. See, if we are getting errors, we are little lucky. Okay, we are so lucky if we are getting errors. If we are not getting errors, we never learned. Let's see this time. 9, yeah, passed. No, fail. Disk failover pending. Okay, currently testing. Any logs it is writing? I think no. Yeah, now resolved. Our issue got resolved. We no need to run all these commands. I think no, sir. It is not registering anything. Let's see. Dot it will register anything. Yeah, here it registers something errors. Yeah, but here I think there are no register. Maximum it will validate everything. Any log thing no. Any log in the node too? Is writing. Yeah, passed. Fail over. We are good, sir. Now. So once you create the disk, just do format, sir. Okay. Once we create the disk, just do the format. I will add that point in our previous session as well. Okay. Just format all the disk once you initialize everything. You won't face such different issues. Okay. Then bringing the storage, all the validated, view the report. It got success, sir. The storage part is done. It's got clear. Okay. Now we are good. So far we are good. Now we already validated everything. Okay. Now see, create a cluster now using this validated nodes. You no need to click on finish and you no need to again click on create a cluster. Using this validation report, you can because you already validated the inventory, resources, okay, configuration. You done all the stuff, all got passed. Okay. Only sometimes it will throw warnings, no problem, sir. You don't need to worry about the warnings. But whenever you are validating the report, don't see any failure. Failure means you need to troubleshoot, sir. When if something get failed, we need to troubleshoot. Okay. In case of warnings, no worries. You can happily go and configure the Windows failure cluster. Using this validation report, I am going to create a cluster now. Okay. I'm going to create a cluster now. See, create the cluster now using this validation report or click on finish. Now, see, click on finish. Now you can create a cluster. So when you click on create cluster also, you will get the new wizard only. Okay, here you need to provide the server name. Okay, node 1, comma, node 2. Click on add. What are the servers you are going to add? Why, Subbu, you are not adding DC as I told you, right? DC is just for cluster, like cluster configuration, cluster monitoring, cluster failover, failback, all the stuff only I'm using DC. So DC is not part of any cluster. So only node 1, node 2 is part of cluster. Okay, is it understandable this one, everyone? DC is not going to part of cluster. DC server is just a clustered server. For configuration, failover, failback, all the stuff you can do it from the cluster server. Only this node 1, node 2 is going to part of cluster. Now click on next. Okay, now as I told you, you need to provide the cluster name. Like batch 44 clue is my cluster name. Okay, but see sir, when you go for on-prem, when you are configuring cluster in on-prem, it will prompt you to provide the IP address. Okay, it will prompt you to provide the IP address, but here it is taking dynamically. It is taking dynamically. So when you are going to configure cluster from cloud services, it will take the IP address from dynamically. Later on, you can go and change it, sir. Whatever IP address you decided, you can change the IP address. As of now, let it be take dynamically only. You are providing the cluster name and you will require the cluster IP address also. But this cluster IP address is dynamically taking. Once you build a cluster, later on you can go and change the IP address. Then click on next. See, being you are going to build a SQL cluster, you need to add all the eligibility storage to the cluster. This is very, very important box. Okay, you are going to configure SQL cluster. Okay, SQL cluster. Okay, on WFC, you can build SQL cluster. You can build standalone SQL also. Standalone SQL also. Standalone SQL. Whenever you decide to install standalone SQL, please don't check this box. Very, 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 very important point. Very, very important point, sir. Very, very
Subbu, can you
important
come
point.
again?
That's what I'm explaining, sir. When you are installing standalone SQL on top of cluster, on top of Windows failure cluster, if you decide to install standalone SQL, you should not include this one. Okay, you should not add a disk to the clusters. When you decide I am going to build this cluster for SQL cluster, then you need to add this one. This is the mandatory. So you will perform two installations on top of cluster. One is standalone installation, one is SQL cluster installation. You know why you are going to build that Windows failure cluster, right? So why you are going to build the Windows failure cluster, you know. So if you come to know that, oh, I need to install SQL cluster, then I need to add all the disk to the cluster. If I'm going for standalone SQL, oh, this I need to uncheck this one. You should not check this one. Next demos, when you are going to configure always on availability group, I will show you. I won't check this option. So this is the very mandatory option. When you decide I need to install SQL cluster on top of Windows failure cluster, you need to add this checkbox. When you decide you are going to for standalone on top of Windows failure cluster, you should not add this box. Okay, clear? Is it clear? Very important point. When you are going to configure cluster itself, this is very important point. Now I know I am installing SQL cluster. I know I'm installing SQL cluster. That's the reason I'm checking this box. Okay. Now click on next. That's it, sir. Apart from nothing else you need to do. Okay, when you are going to configure Windows failure cluster, you need to provide the cluster name, cluster IP address, and you need to select all the disks if you're going for SQL cluster. Okay, sir, I will back in 1 minute. Okay. I'm back. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. Now my cluster configuration is done, sir. Click on finish. Click on finish. Okay. Now see. Now my cluster config is done. I'm able to see the batch 44 glue.na.com. This is my cluster name. Okay. This is my cluster name. You can also see the cluster name. Once I create the cluster, what are the things are happening in the background? This is very important, right? Okay, I build the cluster. Okay, I just build the cluster. What is happening in the background? Do you have any idea? Anyone? Anyone? Any idea? What is happening in the background? I just build the cluster, WFC, Windows Failure Cluster. It's very easy. Okay, it's very easy. You need to select the nodes. You need to provide the cluster name. You need to provide the cluster IP address. Okay, and you just add the disk if you are going for SQL cluster. Otherwise, you no need to check that box. Then click on next and finish. It will build the cluster for us. But in the background, what exactly it is performing is, okay. So go to the first Active Directory, refresh. It is creating one entry in the Active Directory. Are you able to see, everyone? It is created one entry, sir. Please be active, okay? Are, are, are you able to see one entry in the Active Directory once you build a cluster?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
It
Subbu.
is not physical computer. It is a logical computer, like a virtual computer name. Okay. Can I take, see, computer in the sense server. You think that, okay, this is a server. I can try to access this server via RDP, right? No, this is a virtual network name, which is, this is a virtual network name, like a failover cluster virtual network name. This is not a physical computer. This is not a physical computer. This is a virtual network name. Okay, got it. Now this is the one thing I got it. One more thing, go to the DNS and refresh the DNS also. Okay, you will see one register in the DNS also. Are you able to see? You are able to see one DNS also. Everyone?
Yes.
It is registering in the
Yes, Subbu.
DNS also. But
Yes.
unfortunately, note down here, what is the cluster IP address? 10.1.1.6, correct? Yes or no?
Yes.
What is the node 2 IP address?
Yeah, it's the same.
The
Same.
same. It is dangerous, right? Agree, not agree?
Right. Right.
Right. So, first thing, sir, okay, forget about this IP address, okay? I will talk in a while. So, what are the things you need to consider? Whenever I form the cluster, one entry in the Active Directory, one entry in the DNS, one entry in the Active Directory, one entry in the DNS. Okay, these are the major two things which are happening in the background. In the background, you are not doing anything, sir. You are just forming a cluster. As a DBA, as a Windows team, you are just forming a cluster. But in the background, these are the major two things are happening. Along with this, is there anything else, Subbu? Yes, sir. Go to the services.msc. Go to the services.msc. Services.msc. Okay, your cluster services has been started. Okay, your cluster services is enabled and it has been automatic and it is started. Starting means running, sir, running. Okay, so once you form the cluster, your clustered services will be from disabled mode to it will come to automatic mode. Okay, and it will in the running mode, and it will be in the running mode. This is the third thing. This is the third thing. Okay, not okay, everyone. Is there anything
Okay.
else it is doing? Yes. See, basically, when you form a cluster, it will create automatically quorum. Are you able to see the witness disk cluster disk 3? are able to see the witness cluster disk 3?
Yes.
Everyone know? Yes. So by default, it is creating disk quorum. By default, it is creating disk quorum. By default, it is creating a disk quorum. Disk quorum. Okay, Subbu, which disk it selected? I created a dedicated disk for quorum, right? I created a dedicated disk for Quorum. Is this the disk has been used? No, sorry. No one knows which disk it will choose. Whatever the disk you are going to add on top of this cluster, it will pick any one of the disk and it will create a quorum. It will pick any one of the disk and it will create a quorum, sir. What is quorum? That tomorrow I will explain, sir. Because at least minimum to minimum, we need 1.5 hour to 2 hours to know about quorum. Okay, that much. Not tomorrow, so day after tomorrow, I think. Not tomorrow. Okay, day after tomorrow we'll talk. Especially one day we are talking about Quorum now. You can think how Quorum is placing a major role on top of Windows failure cluster. Got it, everyone? And I will share a separate material to you related to Quorum. One of the most critical, one of the most important interview question, one of the most important concept in entire Windows failure clusters, Quorum. Very important point, sir. We are going to discuss a lot about Quorum. Okay, lot about Quorum. No worries. As of now, no worries. Don't think much. Okay. By default, it is creating a quorum. That quorum is a disk quorum, and it is picking any one of the disk, whatever disk we uh, assigned. We assigned. It is pick any one of the disk. Okay, fine, Subbu. Okay, fine. And it is also telling which node is acting as a owner. Okay, current host server like a owner. Node 1 is like a owner. Okay, Subbu, I not yet installed any SQL, right? I not yet installed any SQL, right? Then how it is telling that many people are confusing this one, sir. Okay, many people, the people who are already working, the people who are in the learning state, many people will get confused. Oh, current host server is a node 1, means current owner is a node 1, means that is a active node. We are thinking that is a active node. No, sir. Whatever the node here it is displaying, this is not relevant to SQL. This is relevant to cluster service, cluster resources. Which node is holding your cluster services? Cluster services means not these services. Okay. Don't. Let's refresh. Oh, see. Oh, I'm in the DC. Oh my God. Sorry. So don't think these services are no cluster resources. I mean to say cluster resources. Okay. There are a lot of resources will be created. One second. One second. One second. One second, sir. I will back in 5 minutes. Okay. Okay. So I'm back. Okay. Everyone able to hear, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now it is saying that cluster host server is node 1. This is not relevant to SQL, sir, because till now so far we not install any SQL. Okay, we are completely working with the Windows payload cluster only. So all your cluster resources are running from node 1. And Quorum is already created, and your cluster resource means in the background there are a lot of DLL, CXE files, all the stuff, right? Your cluster whole information is holding on the node 1. See, whenever you see that node 1, okay, when you go to the node 1, when you open my computer, now earlier your disk is in this icon, right? Before forming the cluster, all your disk icon is like this, right? Yes or no? Yes. Now your
Yes.
disk icon has been changed to, see, cluster. This icon has been changed. Being node 1, which is acting as a owner, okay, which is acting as a owner, all the disks has been in the node 1 only. So node 2, you can't see any disks. When you open my computer, you can't see any disk in the node 1, node 2. Node 2, there are no disks. Now node 1, which is acting as a owner, and all the disks are mapped to node 1 only. But it will change, sir, once you install the SQL. Once we install the SQL, the behavior will be changed. No worries, all the stuff. No worries, sir, as of now. So these are the major things you need to keep in your mind. Okay, once you form a cluster, one entry will be in the Active Directory, one entry in the DNS. Okay, disk quorum is created, and it is also telling who is the owner, who is holding all the cluster resources. Node 1 is the holding the cluster resources. When you expand the cluster, you will see the roles. Currently, nothing's are here because I not yet installed anything. Not yet installed anything, so that's the reason you are not able to see anything here. Nodes, only it's a 2-node cluster and 1 node currently down from the cluster. Your cluster is running with a single node. Your cluster is running with a single node. Hey, why Subbu? That's what I told you, right? The problem with the IP address. Whatever the IP address of node 2, your cluster also using same IP address. Okay, that's the reason your node 2 is currently down. Okay, we'll see, sir, all the stuff. Now in the storages, you will see the disks. Okay, you will see how many disks you created. All the disks here you will see disk 1, disk 2, disk 3, and you are able to see the network. Okay, this is our network cluster network, and you will see the cluster events. Nothing but errors. Okay, errors. So we'll walk through all one by one slowly, so that you will become strong. So once you form the cluster, these are the things are happening in the background. The first thing when you are doing in cloud, and you are especially doing in the cloud, because over the cloud the IP address are dynamically picking, right? That's the problem, sir. Okay, that is a problem. First thing, once you build the cluster, first thing what you need to do is go to the nodes, because in real world you don't have entry in the DNS, you don't have access to the Active Directory, right? First, once you form the cluster, verify nodes are healthy or not. Oh, my node is down. Okay, my node is down. Go to the cluster events and verify what is the error message it is pointing. Cluster failed to start. Okay, cluster failed to start the cluster because it's communicating over the network and other nodes. Okay, cluster failed to start. Cluster failed to start. Okay, nothing strange error message here you are able to see. Okay, see. Now here you are seeing somewhere that here also see, sir, startup shutdown, node to node communication, startup shutdown. Okay, physical disk resources. Now my focus will be IP addresses, because I know this is issue with IP address. See, your cluster IP address resource cannot brought online because duplicate IP address. You got the solution. Okay, okay, okay. You got the solution. Now you can also find the solution very simple. If you open command prompt, If you open command prompt, ping cluster name batch 44, or no need to ping, sir. ns lookup batch 44 clue. Enter. So what is the IP address it is using? 10.1.1.6. Okay. ns lookup node 2. Node 2. Oh, node 2 is also same IP address. Oh, cluster is also same IP address. That's the way the problem started. Unfortunately, my cluster started taking the IP address of node 2. Node 2. That is the reason my node 2 is down currently. Node 2 is down because it's a duplicate IP address. Because two services are trying to point to the same IP addresses. One is a node 2, one is a cluster. Due to that, it is asking as a duplicate IP addresses. Now, first thing I need to do is I need to go and change my cluster IP address. I need to go and change my cluster IP address. How I can change my cluster IP address? Go to the network. There is a cluster network is created by default. Once you form the cluster, by default, cluster network is formed, right? Go to the property or double click on this, sir. Go to the property. Okay. Oh, no, sorry. Not. Open the cluster, go to the property, right click on cluster, go to the property. Come on, it's much like with 2 GB of RAM, right? That's the problem. I'm not sure how the servers will perform after building the SQL. Okay, this is my cluster name, and go to the resource type. Hey, wait. Internet is down. Okay, someone is pinging now. Let's open failure cluster manager from server. Failover cluster manager. You can also access from here also, sir. There is nothing wrong. Any server you can use it. Now you can click on see, by default you are able to see. Open the cluster. Okay, open the cluster. Okay, and expand the cluster, and there you will see the IP address. Okay, double click on it. Okay, now being it is a dynamic IP address, you need to go for static, and you need to provide one IP address whatever they suggested. Your Windows team will provide one IP address, and that IP address you need to provide. For example, I'm going for 15, 10.1.1.15, 10.1.1.15. Now click on OK. Now I'm changing my cluster IP address to 10.1.1.15, 10.1.1.15. Who will provide this IP address? Your Windows team. Then click on yes, or your application team will provide the IP address. Now you can bring the cluster to with that new IP address. Now, once it is done, still your node will be down, sir. Still your node will be down. Try to, see. Now it's trying to come to online. You see now your node is come to online and it automatically came up. This is one of the best live example, right? Yes or no? If someone will use this same IP address, whatever you map to the node 1 or node 2, your node 1 will goes down, right? Due to duplicate IP address. Agree, not agree?
Agree.
Yes. Okay, now you need to go and talk to your network team. Hey, my node 2 is currently down due to duplicate IP address. Will you double check once and can you please remove that services out of the IP address because that IP address is currently mapped to node 2. Okay, my nodes are healthy now. Okay, my nodes are healthy. My cluster is also healthy. My nodes are healthy. Okay, that is the first thing you need to do once you form the cluster. Verify nodes are healthy. Being you are using dynamic IP address, it will pick the IP address for any one of the server only. Any one of the server. So first thing is change the cluster IP address. Change the cluster IP address. Okay, change the cluster IP address. Once it is done, all the nodes will verify. All the nodes are healthy. Now, second thing, Subbu, I created a dedicated drive. What is that cluster disk 3, sir? Let's go and verify what is that cluster disk 3. Cluster disk 3 is temp D. See, it is using temp disk for Quorum. It is actually this disk is for temp DB, but this disk it is using for Quorum. I created uh, uh, I created dedicated drive for Quorum, sir. See, Quorum. Which disk? Disk 5. Disk 5 already created for Quorum, but unfortunately it used the disk 3. Now I need to change the Quorum from disk 3 to disk 5. Disk 3 to disk 5 means I need to configure Quorum. Okay, Quorum. So no worries. Just see what I'm doing. Maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow, I will take a separate session on Quorum, right? I will talk more and I will show you different techniques also. So no worries, all the stuff. Right click on cluster, go to more action, configure cluster Quorum settings, configure cluster Quorum settings. Okay, then click on next. So select the Quorum witness, then choose the next. Okay, to configure disk witness, then click on next. Okay, now I don't need this one, sir. I need disk 5. Okay, Quorum disk. You can expand from here. Q for Quorum. Then click on here. Okay, see, when I open Q drive, there is nothing here. But when I open temp drive, where is temp drive? See, there is a folder called cluster. There is a files related to the cluster. As I told you, Quorum is acting as a database for your Windows failover cluster. Again, I'm repeating, Quorum is working like a database for your Windows failover cluster. And it is storing the information under that folder. Wherever you created the Quorum, right? Under that folder, it will store complete your cluster configuration information. Now it chosen the temp drive. That's the reason it is created a folder and created relevant information. I don't want that disk, sir. I want to create this disk. Now I'm doing same thing. Now click on next, click on finish. Click on next, click on finish. Okay, done, sir. Now see, it has been changed to cluster disk 5. When you open this one under the Quorum drive, okay, when you open the Quorum drive, you will see the cluster folder. You will see the cluster folder. Is it understandable how to create a Quorum? How many types of Quorum? We'll talk on that session, sir. Is it clear?
Yes, Subbu.
Okay, yeah. This is the first thing you need to do, sir. This is the first thing. These are the things you need to take care as a see in case you get a chance, sir. Again, if you get a chance in real from the scratch, these are the things you need to keep it in your mind. Okay, Bala, you are asking a question.
So, quick question is, see here we actually changed the IP address and we changed the Quorum disk to a different one. Rather that, is there any way while creating the cluster, we select
No,
the
sir.
right options so
No,
that we
sir.
don't get into these conflicts.
No, sir. Unfortunately, no.
Okay.
Even from command prompt, I will show you how to build a cluster from command prompt also. Okay. I will show you how to. That time also, no, sir. Unfortunately, no. Yeah, maybe in future, if Microsoft. What I mean to say, Bala, is not Bala, he asked and everyone. See, you are going to build the infrastructure. No worries at all, correct? That is not making any harm also. It is not
Yeah.
taking IP from any other. It is taking IP from this infrastructure only. Okay? Nothing issues, sir.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's see. We will build a cluster, same thing in the on-prem also, right? See, we will build a cluster in on-prem also, right? Let's see what challenges we'll see in the on-prem so that you will have better understanding. So we are super good, correct? Do you have any queries, any questions on config Windows failure cluster? No? Yes? If no, then I will go for SQL. Today we will complete the SQL installation, sir. Okay? Tomorrow we'll talk much more because there are lots of properties we wanted to know as a database administrator. Up to this, okay, 70 to 75% your Windows people will taken care, sir. Up to this. Okay. But again, I told you, right? 25% also you may also get to do. 25% you may also get a chance to do. At least know you are good, right? Everyone? Yes, no?
Yes.
Yes. Now, sir, can I go for SQL? If nothing, you don't have any questions, can I move into SQL? So I need to install four installations, right? So it will take little time. I don't know how servers will react because we are having only 2 GB of RAM. We are having only 2 GB of RAM, right? Let's see how servers will react here. Now, okay, I'm super good. Now I'm going for SQL. Now see, sir, next. So first what we done, configure, okay, WFC. So server details, nothing but nothing, nodes information info, okay, cluster, okay, name, cluster IP, okay, cluster IP, forum, forum info as well. We'll talk quorum info later on. Okay. Validate the cluster. Cluster. Okay. If any errors reach to Windows team or fix it. Okay. Fix it. If you are installing SQL on cluster. Okay. Please check add disk to cluster. If 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 not means standalone. If not means standalone. SQL. Okay. Don't check disks to add to cluster. Please, sir, make a note on this. Is very, very important. Very, very important. Okay. Once Google cluster. Okay. Check all Nodes are healthy. Okay, or not? This also. Is it clear? Can I move into SQL now?
Okay, Prabhu.
Yes. Now we know that we are going to install SQL on cluster. Okay, that's the reason we added disk into the cluster. Now that is the reason you are able to see disk in a different icon. Okay, in the like a sandbox icon. All the disks are looks like a sandbox icon because you added this disk into the cluster. You added the disk into the cluster. Okay, fine. Now I need to install the SQL. Now see. Okay, configure SQL on cluster. Okay, SQL on cluster. Okay, mainly servers should be part of clusters before we start. Okay, SQL on cluster installation. This is very important installation. Very important point. Very important point, sir. Okay, when you decide to install, okay, SQL on cluster. Okay, first you need to build the WFC. Mainly servers should be part of clusters. Means WFC prices. That then only you can go and perform the SQL on cluster installation. Otherwise, you can't perform SQL on installation. Please keep that in your mind. Now, just know we build a Windows failure cluster, right? Yes or no? Agree, not agree, everyone? Yes, right? Just know we will build the installation. Now, next thing, okay? So, is active cluster, active cluster, active or active passive? Passive cluster configuration. Cluster configuration. What do you mean by active passive, sir? Means single instance, or multiple instance. Multiple instances. Okay, is it a single instance or multiple instance? Active passive means single instance. Active is nothing but multiple instance. I already explained you with the theoretical, sir. Okay, I'm not going deeper now. Okay. Now, you know how to install SQL, right? Don't tell no, please. You know how to install SQL, right, everyone? Everyone knows how to install
Yes.
SQL, right? What are the prerequisites you need to know, right?
Yes.
What are the prerequisites where I need to keep my data files, log files, authentication modes, okay, TempDB where I need to create, how many features I need to install, what are the features I need to install, which version, which edition, okay, what is the SA account password. You know all the prerequisites. I'm not explaining all this stuff. Okay, I'm not explaining all this stuff. You already know. Apart from that, additional things we need to know, sir, when you are going for SQL on cluster. When you are going for SQL on cluster, apart from that, okay, you need to know SQL, okay, virtual name, SQL IP address, okay, and shared SAN storage, info, storage, info. Okay, and cluster. Okay, resource group name. Resource group name. Group name. These are the mandatory things. These are very, very important. Okay, when you compare with additional installation, what are the new things you are getting here is, you know about SQL instance name. Okay, instance name. Okay, whether I need to go for default instance or named instance. If I'm going for named instance, you need to get the named instance name. You already know all these steps. I'm not repeating. Okay, so I need something additional when I'm going for SQL on cluster installation. I need something additional. What are that? SQL virtual name, SQL IP address, shared storage info, and cluster resource group. Cluster resource group. These are the four things which are mandatory. These are the four things which are mandatory, while you are installing SQL Server on top of cluster. SQL on cluster. SQL on cluster. These are the four additional things you will get it on top of what you know. Instance name, version, edition, futures need to be installed. Okay, where I need to keep the log file, data file, temp DB, authentication modes, to whom I need to grant the permission. Okay, all the stuff. Not only this one, sir. One more important. I'm sorry, I forget. One of the most important. Okay, service account. Okay, when you go for standalone installation, if you go for standalone installation, service accounts are not a mandatory. You can also install SQL in the local accounts. When you go for standalone installation, you can install your SQL in the local accounts. With the local accounts also you can install. But when you go for SQL on cluster, make sure that you need to run SQL with the service account only. You can't install SQL services with the local accounts. Please make a note down. Okay, you can't install SQL on cluster with the local accounts. You need to make sure that you need to use the service accounts. Service accounts are mandatory. Service accounts are mandatory, and need to be manual mode. Services and services need to be manual mode. Means your SQL services always need to be manual mode. It should not be automatic mode. This is also one of the most important point. These two are very mandatory, sir. These two are mandatory. Apart from this, these two also mandatory. Always you need to run with the service account, and always your services will be in the manual mode. You should not be changed to automatic mode, because cluster will taken care when the services need to come online. Okay, you no need to worry. Cluster will take a responsibility to bring the services to online whenever it needs. If you make automatic, for example, what will happen, Subhum, is, for example, node 2, node 1, node 2. You are keeping as automatic. And currently your SQL is running on node 1, correct? Currently your SQL is running on node 1, which is acting as an active cluster. Okay. Now, if you make node 2 is also automatic the services, unfortunately you restarted node 2. Suddenly something happened, server got restarted. When server is coming online, it will try to bring the SQL services to online, right? Agree, not agree? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Sir, if you are not responding, okay, I don't want to tell all this stuff, okay? Please. I don't want to tell. I can complete as quickly as possible. Just I will install SQL Server. Okay, done. Cluster part is done. I can show you one or two errors. Okay, cluster troubleshooting also done. Why am I highlighting all this stuff if you're not responding? Response is very important, right? Everyone. If you are in the meeting,
Yes,
in
sir.
the biggest conference hall, and your client is projecting some presentation, If they ask one response, will you respond or not? Yes, no.
Yes.
1 second, sir.
Yes.
So, will you respond? Yes, no. Agree, everyone.
Yes. I
Yes.
agree.
Yes. Yes.
So that whenever someone is giving KT or something, they can analyze. Okay, they can understand. Okay, you are getting what they are saying. If you're not responding, sir, again, see, when you go to the real world, that's the problem will start. These are all important. These are minor changes when you go for SQL and cluster. When you go for SQL and cluster, these are the minor changes. And these are very technical, important interview question. And if you're not remembering, then definitely how you can crack the interview. Definitely, if I'm the part of interview, I will ask this question: what is the mode of services on top of SQL and cluster? Then your answer will be none. Why can't I change to automatic? So this are why can't you make it automatic? Why can't you make it automatic? Means what is the problem? Currently node 1 where the SQL is running. Currently where the SQL is running and which is acting as active. Same time, if node 2 you will make it as active and suddenly someone rebooted or something happened, server got rebooted. And node 2 will also try to bring the SQL services to online, right? Is this the right way configuration? No, right? If something happened to node 1 only, the services need to come online on node 2. Otherwise, services always in the stopper state one. Who will take care? Your cluster will take care automatically, sir. We no need to worry. We no need to worry at all. So that's the reason we should make the services always in the manual mode. You should not change to automatic mode. And cluster won't supports in the local accounts. Always your cluster SQL need to be in the with the service accounts only. Always it will be in the service accounts only. Yep. I'm not sure how many people understood. Okay, but these are the major things you need to keep in the mind, sir. Now, let's first, before I start the installing cluster, I need to create the service account, sir, because I don't know service account. I don't have service account, right? First, let's go to the Active Directory, open Active Directory where I can create my, sir, again, service account is nothing but login only. Okay, it's a login, sir. It's a user, it's a login. So someone will call it as a service account, someone will call it, most of the people will call it as a service account. Because that login you are going to use only to run the services. You are not using anywhere. Okay, that's the reason we are calling service account. Service account. We won't use that account anywhere in the to use it. Okay, that is only for to run the services. Now, technically speaking, okay, if you go for technically speaking, many people will create the user like the login like user. So rather than creating here, Microsoft provided a dedicated service called Manager Service Account. Okay, you need to create all your service account under this Manager Service Account only. In real world, your Active Directory people will create your account, service account here. Your login, whenever you got selected, and for you, they will create one login, right? That login will be created under users. Service account logins will be created under manager service accounts. Okay? Not okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Right click, and definitely there will be some difference, sir. Okay. So there will be some difference you will notice. Okay. I think I will share one document or somewhere equal server service account. very, very powerful document. Very powerful document, okay? Whenever you are having time, you need to spend this document. And I will also try, if possible, not possible, sir, I will take one session on this document. Okay? This is one of the most powerful document, especially for your service accounts. Especially for your service account. We are thinking that we are just creating a login and we are using that login as part of service account. No, sir. Okay. Service account is one of the most powerful authentication for especially to run the services. And what Microsoft is saying, you need to follow this document in a clear manner. Okay. In a clear. So Microsoft mentioned clear notes, and Microsoft is keep on updating this document. Okay, Microsoft is keep on updating this document. It was not possible, sir. I will definitely come. I will explain this one, sir, in the upcoming classes. Not regularly, sir. Okay, as I told you, right, from this week onwards, every Wednesday, every Friday, every Friday, I am going to try to bring 2 sessions, sir. One hour, 1 hour, sir. Like sometimes if the concept is little higher, 1 hour, 15 minutes or 1 hour, 1.5 hour. Mostly 1 hour I'm planning. This week onwards, every week, 2 sessions you will get it. Apart from our regular, don't think the regular will be regular. Apart from this, you will get every week 2 sessions. 2 sessions. It can be any concept which we are not discussing on our regular sessions. I'm going to take every week 2 sessions. Okay. I will call anytime. Okay. There is no time frame. Whenever I'm having free time, I will call you, sir. Okay. If you're having time, try to join. If not, you can go for recording. Is it okay, everyone?
Yes.
Okay, Prabhu.
Yes.
Because as I told you, it's very difficult to complete in 3 months. Okay. And the concept is massive pending. So for that only we are planning every week 2 sessions. Minimum I will plan 2 sessions. Or maximum it can also go for 3 sessions also. And I will call anytime. No worries. If you're not able to attend also, you need to go for recording. Most of the sessions I will keep in the public only. Okay. Most of the sessions I will keep in the public. Couple of sessions I will keep in the private. For private, we will grant the permission. For public, you can go and watch. Apart from our regular sessions, you need to watch those sessions also. Those are also very important. Don't skip those sessions. Okay, apart from our regular sessions, whatever we are discussing 2 hours, 2.5 hours, you need to go through that sessions also. Okay. So when I'm talking in that day, I will talk about this one, sir. Okay. So there are 3 bypass traversal checking, replace process level token, adjust memory quota for process. Okay, there are a couple of things which you need to grant the permission. Okay. Sometimes your SQL services won't start due to lack of permissions. SQL services won't start. Rare case again, like a 0.1 to 0.5%. Sometimes your SQL won't start with the lack of service account permission only. Again, that is a like 0.1 to 0.5%. Sometimes it won't start. So that time this block will help us a lot, because when I troubleshooted, okay, only one case I struggled a lot. Oh my god, we done lot much thing. Then I realized, okay, there are many things where we wanted to know about the service account permissions. All these are all the very important concepts. Login services, bypass traversal, locked base memory model, okay, large base memory model. There are many things. Replace process level tokens. Okay, there are many things which we wanted to aware of these concepts. Okay, we won't do, but you should aware of this concept. Sometimes that's what 0.01% to 0.5%. Only the SQL won't start with the lack of permissions. Okay, not every time, sir. That time this block will help you. I will walk through about this block in the future classes. Now where we are, sir? Okay, where I'm taking okay, yeah. Now, sir, see how interactive is. If you are more interactive, I will be more teaching, sir. Okay, I will take only 2 minutes again. If you are more interactive, you will get more knowledge. If you are less interactive, maybe less knowledge. Maybe. Okay, I think that you are not understanding whatever I'm explaining. I won't go deeper. I won't go deeper. Most of the people are experienced people. Okay, forget about lateral who are starting, because sometimes I may forget. Okay, sometimes I may forget. See, I'm not practicing. I'm not coming. I'm straight away coming, and whatever I'm having, I need to try new. Sometimes I may forget some concepts. Whenever you are asking a questions, I may realize, okay, I need to. Just now I added 1 point. See, you remember just now I added, right? First I will mention only these 3 points, 4 points, correct?
Yes,
Yes, or no? I added like this. I may forget, sir. I may miss. I may forget. I may miss. Then definitely you are losing the point, right?
yes.
That is the only one reason. Raise your voice. Then I came to know, okay, oh, there is a one more sub concept I need to explain. There is one more sub concept I need to explain. If you wanted to become about this concept stronger. Okay. So please keep that in your mind, everyone. Go to the DC server. Now I need to create the service account, sir. Right click, click on new, create the user. Again, I'm creating a login only, sir. Nothing apart from nothing. Okay. And provide Express, SQL, Node 1. You can provide whatever you name, sir. Please, I know you love your names, but don't keep your names, sir. I know you love your names, okay, a lot, but don't keep your names. Don't keep your names. Please, please, sir. Okay. I hope you are getting my point, everyone.
Yes, sir.
Follow some follow some standards, okay? That is one of the best practice you should follow. Copy this one on here, click on next. Okay. Password never expire, and provide the password. You won't do all this stuff in real world. Who will do, sir? Your Active Directory people will do all this stuff. Okay. Make it mandatory. I need one more service account also, right? For one more instance, because I need to install Active Pass. Okay. Go to user and provide the username. Please note to. Okay. Note to, and click on next. Provide the IP address. Provide the password. Reset. Okay. Then click on finish. Click on finish. Okay. 2 accounts has been created under manage service account. Okay. Fine. Good. Well and good. Super good. Okay, so now go to the installation. Now I'm happy to install the SQL. So I already downloaded the setup file, right? Last session I shown you I downloaded the setup file also. I'm good to install the SQL. Now you will ask, okay, Subbu, my application team is telling Node 1 as a active. Okay. And my disk is also available in the Node 1. Oh, I need to install only on the Node 1. No, sir, you can also start installing from Node 2, where the disk is not available. I will show you next demo, sir. Hold on. Next demo. Okay. Now let's go and install Node 1 only. Let's go and install Node 1 only. Now let's go to the open the setup file. Okay. Close everything, sir. I don't want. Okay. Close everything. because lack of memory, the SQL may take little longer time. Okay, close everything. Let it be open, the setup file. So today we'll complete the SQL installation. Okay, tomorrow onwards we'll go for properties, concepts, all the stuff, because I need to walk through this entire document also, many things we wanted to discuss. I will walk through all the concept, then I will share the document to you over the WhatsApp, along with whatever I am returning, right? This I will upload in the description, sir. Okay, you can copy to the notes. Where is it? Okay, yeah. Now open the file. Now double click on the setup file. Same as usually, same, sir. Nothing different. Can you give me 15 to 20 minutes more today? I will complete the SQL installation. Everyone, is it okay?
Sure, Subbu, not a problem.
Yes.
Because tomorrow morning freshly will come, right? We'll talk more on the concepts rather than again performing the installations, all this stuff. Okay, meanwhile, I will also do the same thing here also. I will go to here, setup file. I will open the setup file. Meanwhile, I will do so smart work in real world. Okay, you can do smart work, not like a fresher or L1 DBS or like LKG people. Okay, nursery people. You can do smart work. You can install one instance here. You can also start install one more instance here. It will reduce your time, right? Parallelly, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now go to the install. Now, sir, whenever you open the install, okay. Now see, now these two options are enabled. These two options are not grayed out. Agree, not agree? These two options are enabled now.
Agree.
Because this server is part of cluster. Okay. Now that's the reason. New SQL Server failure cluster installation. Add node to the SQL failure cluster installation. First, what you need to install, sir, everyone. Let's ask a question.
New SQL Server failure.
New SQL Server. New SQL.
Okay. Very good, sir. Minimize this one. Okay. Now your wizard will be almost same only, sir. Only same, but here little change. Somewhat little change, sir. Now click on next. Evaluation edition only I'm going. Click on next. Okay. Accept the license. Click on next. And it is performing all the checks. Okay. Click on next. You no need to click on also, but okay, it's okay. Let it be. Once we complete this installation, we'll go to node 2 and we'll also start the installing from node 2 also, sir. It will save our time a lot, right? Okay, now see, sir, this is something very important, okay? Now, when I perform the checks, it almost done 17 checks. Cluster node name lengthy verified, cluster services verified, okay? And it verified about cluster remote access, cluster registry services, remote registry services. So DNS settings, it along with our traditional checks, it validated related to cluster also. How this SQL came to know about this cluster information? Anyone? How this SQL knows? How this SQL knows this cluster information, sir? About nodes, about remote, about nodes, about cluster service verification. How this SQL knows about cluster information? Anyone? Any idea?
Services.
Cluster services, you mean to say?
Yeah.
Okay, let's answer, sir. Everyone. Okay, what it's wrong also nothing. Okay, nothing wrong. We are learning. Okay, nothing wrong. So Sandeep is saying that cluster resources. Okay, okay. Any other answers? Can I expect?
We had added this node one into DC node, right? Yeah, failure cluster.
Okay, from the DC. Okay, Purushottam is saying that it's getting from DC. Okay, it's okay. Fine. Yeah.
Get info from Windows.
Sorry, Suresh.
All this information get from the Windows.
Windows nearby. 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 Okay. Any other?
I think we have added that feature, Windows failure cluster. Feature has been enabled on the Windows, right?
Windows failure cluster. Okay. All are nearby only, sir. I'm not saying you're wrong. Okay.
Through Active-Directory.
Active Directory. Okay. Okay. Okay, sir. Let's get it. No worries. I want one thing, one keyword from you. I'm expecting only one keyword from you. Can I reveal? No. Yes. Do you have validated the cluster report, right? Windows cluster report. You validated. Yes or no? From the
Yes.
Windows,
Yes.
from the cluster, you validated the report, right? Cluster validation report.
Yes, right.
It will get from this, sir.
Okay.
It will get from this validation. This validation. Okay. Good attempt, everyone. Okay. Don't think. Okay. We are learning. Okay. Very good. If someone is asking how from where this information is getting, means straight away, whenever we are going to configure the cluster, we have validated the cluster, right? Okay. So from that validation only, SQL is also validating our services. Yep. No. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Good, sir. Good attempt.
Sir, suppose I have not verified this cluster and
Backend it will do it, sir. Backend it will do, sir. If you're not doing backend, it will validate. Okay. With the report only, it will do it. Click on next. So that's the reason when you are forming the 1 second, sir. That's the reason when you are forming the cluster, validation is the mandatory. Now you understood, sir? Everyone? Everyone,
Yes.
you understood?
Yes.
So while you are forming, it is a mandatory. While SQL, it is also mandatory. We need to do it, sir. As a DBA, as a best DBA, you need to validate first. Okay? Yeah, Bala, you are asking.
Yeah, so validation report, probably it is picking from the validation, but when you do the first screen, when you do the setup, so the install SQL failure cluster, those two options which usually made up, so that one is enabled. So that setup, from where it knows that, okay, this node is part of the cluster.
That's what services, cluster services, running, right? That's what all answers are right. You are getting data from someone told cluster services, someone told Active Directory, okay, someone told Windows. All are right, sir. Again, I'm not saying wrong. But in addition, how this validation getting means validation reports, sir. Okay? Bala,
Gotcha.
I hope you got it. All are right. I'm not saying wrong. All are right only. In the background, there are much more. And the registries also. Okay, I will talk registries in the upcoming very important registries. I will talk in the upcoming. So, okay, you will become strong in the registries also. Very important stuff. We'll talk more, sir. Okay, let's first complete the SQL installation. Now, coming to this is more powerful, more important to everyone, sir. Okay, this make a note down. There is a concept called cluster where services. There is a concept called cluster unaware services. Cluster where services, cluster and unaware services. Cluster aware services, cluster unaware services. This is very, 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 very important point. Okay. So when you are going for SQL on cluster, all services, whatever the features you are installing, all these services are where services? No, sir. No, no, sir. Please keep that in your mind. When you go in that concept, scroll down. I mean, so, yeah. Okay. Okay. See, database engine is aware services. Analysis is aware services. Okay. These two are aware services. Okay. Like SQL Server, SQL Agent, full text service, browser services. These are all aware services. Means these are all compatible. These are all compatible on top of SQL on cluster. But reporting services, integration services are not compatible. Means you can't build integration service, you can't build reporting services on SQL on cluster. SQL on cluster, you can't build the integration service. Means I can't install integration service. You can install, it will allow to install, but it won't work, sir. It will allow to install, but it won't work. Integration services, reporting services are not compatible. Very, very important interview question. What are cluster aware services? What are cluster unaware services? So your answer should be analysis services, reporting analysis services, database engine, browser service, full text services, where services, integration services, reporting services are unaware services. Unaware services means I can install, but it won't work. I can install, but it won't work. Reporting services is not compatible. Integration service is not compatible. On top of SQL on cluster. Okay. VSS writer is not compatible. AD helper is not compatible. These are not compatible, sir. Integration services are not compatible. Reporting services are not compatible. VSS writer is not compatible. No, these services are not compatible on top of cluster. So while you are installing SQL Server, while you are installing SQL on cluster, if your application team is telling, hey, you need to install integration service, tell them clearly. If you want to install integration service, better go for standalone SQL installation. SQL on cluster is not compatible. SQL on cluster is not compatible for integration service. If you want integration service, go for standalone installation only. On top of WFC. On top of WFC, go for standalone installation. Is it okay? Everyone? No? Yes?
Yes.
This is also one of the most important interview question. Okay. Now, database engine is compatible. Replication is compatible. Full text is compatible. Data quality is also compatible, sir. Okay. Analysis service is also compatible. I'm installing. I don't want to install analysis service, but it is compatible. Data quality, master delay, these are all compatible. You can select it. No worries. But don't select the integration service. Let's select analysis also. Now, binary files are going for C drive only. Subbu, you told that, okay, we should not we should not store the data in the local drives, okay? Binary files, your SQL binary files will be can go for the C drive only. Okay, it can be go for C drive. No, not at all worry. Now, is it clear, sir, everyone? What is cluster aware services, cluster unaware services? Everyone clear? Not clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then click on next. Okay. See, sir. When you are installing SQL Server, standalone SQL Server, you will get only this window, right? Only this window. You will get only this window, right? Yes or no?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
But when you are installing SQL on cluster, you are getting one more window. I told you, right? Okay. SQL virtual name. Okay. SQL virtual IP address. These are additional things you are getting. You are performing normal installation only, sir. Don't think a different installation. Okay. but you are getting some additional things here apart from nothing else. Nothing different, sir. Now I'm going for default instance. Okay, now I'm going for default instance. Now I need to provide my instance name. SQL, SQL clue. Okay, treat like a prod. Prod. This is a virtual name. Okay, prod, like a prod. That's a default instance. Let's say default instance. Then click on next. I provided extra. I provided extra names are here. Then click on next. So whatever the features you selected, that is are going to group. See, when you go to the roles, currently there are nothings are here. When you go to the roles, there are currently nothing here. Now here you will get the roles. You will get the resources, right? That resources you are going to group. Can I change this name? Yes, sir, you can change it. You can change it. You can keep whatever name you want. But my suggestion, sir, please, my suggestion, better don't change it. Let it be default. By seeing the name here, okay, by seeing this name, I can easily recognize, oh, this is my SQL server and this is my default instance. Agree, not agree? Everyone.
Yes.
If you change it,
Yes.
will you get confused, right? Yes or no? You won't get confused, sir, because you are installing, but others will get confused, right? Yes? No? Yes,
Yes.
right? Others will
Yes.
confuse. Better don't change it. Let it be same, sir. Whatever the features you are selected, all the features you are going to group and that features are running under this group only. Okay, this is something new to you. Okay, that's the reason. Don't change it. Let it be default. Click on next. Now disks are very important. Okay, see, sir. You created 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You created all this disk, right? Out of this, one disk is showing as a red because one disk you configure Quorum. Quorum, see, the disk resource disk 5 cannot be used because it is a cluster Quorum disk. I told you, right? One resource, one disk. One resource, one disk only. You can't use multiple resources under one disk. So please keep it in mind. For this instance, I created how many disks, sir? Multiple disks. No, this is slow. So one or two times you will practice, you will become strong. Okay, very easy, sir. Don't make like a don't think like a Christopher Nolan movies. Okay, this is very easy. 15 GB or 20 GB. Oh, this is my dev disk, I think so, or dev disk one. Okay, one. So let it begin. Now, for this instance, I created one for data file, one for log file, one for tempdb. What is the disk for tempdb, sir? This is for tempdb. This is for log file. This is for data file. So properly select. Okay. Disk 6 for data file. Disk 3 for tempdb. Disk 2 for log file. Okay, I selected all my disks. Disk 2, disk 3, disk 6. Okay. Subbu, if you're not selecting this disk, what will happen, Subbu? Means you can't store your data under this disk. Please keep it in mind. If you're not selecting the disk, you can't store your data under this disk. Very, very important. So one is for data file, one is for log file, one is for tempdb. And backups also I'm keeping in the same drive also. This is very important. So you created a resource group, and you created a disks also. Then click on next. Okay, now as I told you, right? Okay, as I told you, right? This is very important. Okay, now let me add shared disk. Okay, select disk. Okay, where we need to store the data. Store. Data. Data. The braces. Okay. Okay, fine, sir. Now, I told you that IP address is also mandatory. Now, luckily, Microsoft is providing this dynamic IP address. I don't want dynamic. I can go for static IP address. Let's choose this one. Provide the static IP address 10.1.1.16. I'm going. So 15, I went to the cluster. 16 is free. Okay, Subbu, how I came to know this IP address is nowhere is using. Correct. That is also one point, right? As a DBA, if simply someone is providing IP address and you are going and providing that IP address, hey, I don't want trust that Windows team. Hey, I don't want trust that network team. How I can confirm that this IP address is not using anywhere? Anyone knows? Anyone think like this? Anyone as a DBA? No? Yes? No, right? No worries. Can we think like this, right? Like an open command prompt? It will take just 2 seconds, sir. Open the command prompt, ping the IP address 10.1.1.16. Okay, you won't get response. Oh, means this IP address is no one is using. This IP address is no one using. If someone is using, okay, if someone is using, you will get some response. You will get some response. See, you are getting some response. Oh, this IP address is someone is using. Then take the screenshot and let them know. Hey, whatever the IP address you given, that IP address is somewhere it is responding. Will you double check once? Okay, to avoid the duplicate IP addresses. Got it? No. Yes. Are there online people?
Yes.
Yes.
Now I can go for 16. Sir, before I go installation, I missed one point. Sorry. 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 I missed one point. On. I need to create the folders, right? Let create the folders. Okay. Sorry. MS SQL, MS SQL. Okay. And I can go for, okay, data, MS SQL. I can go for log, SQL. I can go for log. Come on, I forget this one. Sorry. That's the one thing, sir. If you're not raising your questions, I may miss. I don't want this folder. Maybe. Okay. Let it be, sir. Later on, I will delete after reboot. Okay. This is TempDB, right? MS SQL. SQL. I can go to the temp. I can go to the TempDB. Okay. TempDB, and I can keep the data. And I can keep the log. Log. I can go to the log. I can keep the backup folder here itself. Backup folder, backups, backup. Okay, and I need to grant the permission to the service account also, right? As per the best practices. Okay, go to here, grant the permission to the service account to this folder to avoid the permissions issues. Access SQL node 1 is my service account. Go to here, grant the permission to the log directory also, log drive also. Access SQL node 1. Come on. Oh, access SQL node 1. Go to temp drive, grant the permission. Okay, access SQL node 1. Why it's not copied? Okay, fine. I'm super good. Now I created the respective folders. Sorry, I missed it. Okay, yeah. Now I provide the IP address. Then click on next. Okay. Now, sir, see, all your services are manually. Okay, you can't change it also. See, I can't expand also. All on, I can't expand. Now I need to provide NA/XSS12 node 1. Let me copy the IP, copy the service account, provide the okay, and collation same defaults are let it be. Then click on next. Service account or manually and need to be provided. Very important. You can't run the SQL services the local account, especially when you go for SQL and cluster. Mixed mode authentication, password provide, sir. Add the current user. I'm having only one user. I'm adding it. Go to the data directories. This is very important. Now change the directories. Data drive. Okay. MS12. Data drive. Okay. Data folder. Log drive I created. So backup I created a separate backup also I created separate folder. Okay, so backup, log, data, and my system databases. TempDB is also mandatory. So I dedicatedly created a disk, right? I'm going to use the same disk. So remove, add, go to the T drive, MS SQL data directory. So map the log directory as well. That's it, sir. Max drop, memory, file stream, we'll talk later on, no worries. Then click on next. Analysis service is also there, but default I not created any drive for analysis service, right? Let it be default location, no worries. Okay, no worries, let it be default location. And add the current user and default location it is going for which drive? L drive only, no problem, sir. Nothing, I'm not doing much in the analysis services. Then click on next, click on install. Okay. Is it any difficult, sir? Everyone? Is any difficult? No, right?
No, sir.
No. So let it be installed. Can I install one more instance, sir? It will save over time parallelly. Questions before that?
No.
Can I install one more instance? No? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thanks. I can go for node 2. Now see, sir. Now this is something very interesting. In the node 2, any disks are there? In the node 2, any disks are there? No, right? No, right? Let's proceed the installation, sir. Sir, again, I'm installing one more new instance. One more new instance, okay? Now, this time, when I go for new installation, what is the option I need to select, sir?
Add a node.
And local
Ah,
cluster.
no, 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 no. No. Okay, okay. You will get confused. Okay, we'll wait, sir. Then confusing you. We'll wait. We'll wait.
But standalone installation.
No, standalone. Okay. Let it be complete, sir. It is faster. Faster. Just relax for 3 minutes. You can install now with one core with a 2 GB of RAM is good, sir. Now it's working little smoothly. I thought we may get a memory out of memory, no. But not sure when you go for active cluster. It's done almost. We are good. Okay. Come on. It's faster. Meanwhile, I will create new SQL, SQL, and the permission. Everything will be under this. Access SQL. Something is happening. Don't click on close the program. Sorry, it will close it. Just click on cancel. Okay. Yeah. Are you able to see SQL services? Everyone?
Yes.
SQL services which are where it is running currently?
Node 1.
Node 1. Okay. So when I right click, when I go to the properties, okay, I can see the my SQL services currently. So I can map to node 1, node 2. But will there any service which is running on node 2 currently? Not running, sir. Will you install anything on node 2 currently? Nothing, right? If I search for SQL, nothing is there currently. Nothing. You not install anything, sir. So first you completed our SQL installation, and now currently it is running on node 1. Now you think that, okay, if something happened to SQL node 1, if something happened to node 1, node 2 need to take responsibility, right? Correct, yes or no? If something happened to this default instance, node 2 need to take responsibility, right? Agree, not agree, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now I need to go to the node 2, open the installation. Now tell me which option I need to go. New SQL Server failure constellation or add node to the failure constellation?
Add node.
Add node to the failure constellation. Then minimize this ones. Okay, click on next. Accept, click on next. Okay, again, same installation only, nothing here. But you no need to select the futures, blah, 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 something. Okay, everything will be predefined, sorry, because you already done the core installation part in the node 1. You no need to select all this stuff. When you go for add node to the failure cluster installation, see, for this instance, you are adding a node. See, already your installation is done. Where? In the node 1. In the node 1, your installation is done. For this installation, you are adding a passive. So you no need to select the futures. You no need to see. Here you will see the all the features, all this stuff, right? You no need to select all these features because all these features are already installed. You are just installing the services under node 2 because under node 2 nothing is there currently, no configuration manager, nothing is there. Now you are just installing the features, installing the services. Now click on next. You no need to select anything on node 2, sir, when you are add node to the failure cluster installation. Okay, IP address is also automatically will pick. Only you need to provide the service account passwords. Okay, you need to provide the service account password. Very, very important is you need to provide the service account password. See, currently there are no disk in the node 2. Still I'm installing add node to the failure cluster installation. Oh, something the password is not matching. Okay, see, you are installing the services. See, you are installing the application, database engine, data quality analysis services, whatever you selected from the node 1, same thing it is fetching and same thing it is installing in the node 2 also. You no need to select anything in the add node to the failure cluster installation. And the installation will also much faster, sir, because you already done everything. You are just, okay, adding the services apart from nothing else you are doing. So add node is nothing but passive installation. When you open the configuration manager from node 2, if you open the configuration manager, go to here, expand the SQL 2022, open the configuration manager. Okay, double click on the SQL services. See, all the MySQL services are running, which are currently in the manual mode. All are running with the service accounts only. Fine, running state. Okay, but when you once your node 2 is done, now let's open the configuration manager. It will be in the stopper state. It will be in the stopper state. Now this is about almost active passive installation, because on node 1 your services are running, but node 2 is sitting idle, so nothing, no services are running, right? So technically we'll call it as a active passive installation, means single instance. Single instance. Single instance is nothing but active passive installation. So being node 2 is sitting idle, you can install one more instance, and now you can make that instance to run on node 2. Default instance is run on node 1. Now technically we'll call it as a active installation. Again, you need to install 2 more times. That's it, sir. Apart from nothing else, don't get confused what is active, passive. The node where SQL service is running, technically we'll call it as active node. The node where SQL service is idle, those we'll call it as a passive nodes. What do you mean by active means multiple instance. So I can install one more instance. Only 2 instances, Uber can install one more instance. Of course, you can install multiple instance on top of SQL cluster.
But the disks are not visible on Node 2, right?
Node 2, only active node the disk will be visible, sir. Not in node 1, node 2. Wherever the disk is there, only that node. Here you are installing the features, everything under the C drive.
Correct.
Under the
I
C
mean to
drive.
say, when you want to install another instance on Node 2.
Yeah, I can install, sir. That's what we are thinking as a DBA. We are thinking that okay, disk is available in node 2, node 1. I need to install only on node 1. No. Wherever you can install it, sir. That's it. Because all the disks are in shared disk. That's the reason we are calling as a shared disk. Correct? If you are having shared disk, you can access anywhere, right? where it is presenting, no worries. That's the reason next demo I will show you. When I'm installing one more instance, there is no disk on node 2, right? Will I install or not? Let's see, sir. Will it allow us to install or not? Let's see.
Okay. Sure.
Okay. Yeah. So when you are installing, don't think that node 1 is active, node 2 is passive, node 2 is active, node 1 is passive. No. First, complete your installations. Perform new SQL Server cluster installation. Add node to the cluster installation. Do everything. Now, finally, you need to make which node is active. On that node, you need to run the services. That's it. While you are installing, there is no concept called active. There is no concept called passive. Do your installations first. Once you complete all installation, make that which node you need to make it as active. The rest of the nodes will become as a passive only, correct? Everyone, right?
Yes.
Sorry, Wilson, it's taking a little longer time. Sorry for from other countries. If I complete the installation today, tomorrow we'll spend a lot of time on more concepts. See, tomorrow we'll discuss failover, failbacks, all the stuff, properties. Okay, lot many things. Tomorrow we'll spend more time. See, my installation is done. Okay. Now, if you open the configuration manager, if I open the configuration manager, okay, all my services will be in the stopper state. All my services will be stopper state. If something happened to node 1, node 2 will take responsibility. Understood, everyone? Services will be in the stopper state only. You just install the services and feature on node 2. Okay? Not okay, everyone.
Okay, sir.
Great. Now, be node 1 which is acting as active and node 2 is which is sitting idle. Okay? Which is sitting idle. So now node 2 is not doing anything unless something happened to node 1. Node 2 is sitting idle. So can I install one more instance and can I use that instance to run on the node 2? Is it okay? Everyone? No? Yes?
It will be the standalone instance, right?
No, I'm
Or
not going for standalone this one. No. I'm again
okay.
going back to the cluster only.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yes, I got it.
Yeah, I'm going for one more cluster, SQL cluster. I'm not going for standalone, sir. Next demos, upcoming demos, I will go for standalone when I'm talking on always and available. Okay. Now let's create new SQL Server failure clusters because I'm going to install one more instance. I know. Come on, yet. Will it allow me to open? Let's see, sir. Hey, sorry. I need to open here, right? Sorry. Add new SQL Server cluster installation. Let's see, sir. Will it allow or not? Node 2, I'm in Node 2. Then when you are practicing, what you need to do is one core to GB of RAM is not sufficient. Then I need to go for little higher value. Will it open or will it throw an in? Will it open or will it throw low memory? Let's see. In the node one, oh, node one, it is opening. Oh, great, great. I don't want to share. Low memory only, but it is opening luckily. Okay. Yeah, it got opened, sir. Click on next. I am installing one more instance. Okay. I'm installing one more instance. I'm installing one more instance on node 2, right? Can I go for default instance? Node 2? Can I go for default instance?
No.
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 No, sir. No. Okay, already default instance is installed. Already you install the default instance. Okay. In the node 1 you install, in node 2 also you install. Node 1 also install, node 2 also you install. Now you need to, or you should not go for the default instance. It won't allow you to go for default instance, sir. Definitely you need to go for named instance only. This time I'm not going for analysis service, sir. I already shown you analysis service. Okay. This time I'm not going for analysis service. Click on next. Analysis service I already shown you to install. Tomorrow I will walk through all, sir. See, this time it is directly pointing to the named instance only. It is not pointing to the default instance because default instance is already installed. Node 1, node 2, both are same only, sir. Okay. Default instance is already installed. You can't install, you can't install one more default instance. Definitely you need to go for one more instance. I'm going for dev instance. So SQL clue dev, SQL clue dev, SQL clue prod. This is for prod, this is for dev. Okay, fine. Then click on next. I'm not explaining all this stuff. I already installed, right? I'm just installing one more instance. That's it. Apart from nothing else I'm doing. So I am installing one more instance. Okay. This time SQL Server Dev. So being we are having already SQL Server, MS SQL Server is nothing but default instance. Irrespective of MS SQL Server, if there will be any name, then you can treat it as a named instance only. So dev is my named instance. Okay, super good. Then click on next. Now disk is very important, sir. Disk is very important. See, this disk already you installed SQL services, right? You can't use the disk, same disk. You need to go for different drive only. So when I go for disk, there are two disks, sir. I think cluster disk one are having 20 GB. I think cluster disk one is having 20 GBs. Let me open cluster disk one only. Think 20 GB. Cluster disk one only 20 GB. 20 GB. Yes, sir. Cluster disk is having 20 GB, right? Let's go for cluster disk one. Then click on next. Only one disk, sir. This time I'm not having, I'm not created a data file, OneDrive, log file, OneDrive, TempDB, OneDrive. Okay. I am keeping everything in a single drive only. I am keeping everything in a single drive only. No dynamic IP address, static IP address. So I'm going for 10.1.1.1.17. 10.1.1.15 is a cluster. 10.1.1.16 is a default instance. 10.1.1.17 is a named instance. Okay. Now this time, okay. Let's see, sir. Can I use same service account? See, you remember I created the service account for Node 1, right? I use the service account when I open the configuration manager. This is also one very important question. When you go for active cluster, can I use the same service account for one more instance? Can I try this one? Rather than telling theoretical part. Okay. Let's go for NA/access SQL node 1. I think this service account I already used for this service account I used for default. Default instance. Can I use same service account for one more instance in the same cluster? Let's try it, sir. Will it work or not? It allowed, right? Yes? No. It allowed. Okay. So that's the reason I'm changing to 2. Okay. So you can keep the single service account for multiple instances. The service account login and password is not valid. Hey. Okay. True. Wait, sir. Not true. But, it's this is SQL no 2. Let me reset the password. Okay, change it. Let's click on next. Yeah, hello. Maybe I provided wrong password there. I reset the passwords. Add current user. And I'm having only one single directory, sir. Hey, again, why? Uh, I'm having single directory. Everything will go into that directory, sir. You no need to change it. Okay, you no need to change it anything. I'm having only one directory, right? Everything will go to that directory only. Nothing to change there. Click on next. Click on finish. Click on install, sir. That's it. You are going to install one more instance. You are going to install one more instance. This is we are calling as a active installation. Active installation means multiple instance. Active installation is nothing but multiple instance. One instance is running on node 1, one more instance is running on node 2. If something happened to node 1, node 2 will take responsibility to run the 2 services. If something happened to node 2, node 1 will take responsibility to run the 2 services. So currently one service is running on node 1. I'm installing one more, right? That it will run in the node 2. Now, wherever the disks are, you can install the SQL server, right? Now see, disk is automatically came into node 2. Will you done any failover? Everyone? Will you perform any failover? No, right? It will get the disk, sir. When it is installing, it will get the disk. So, wherever your disk will be, nothing to worry. First, you need to install new SQL Server failure cluster installation. Next, you need to install add node to the failure cluster installation. Yeah, that's it, sir. Apart from nothing else. Sir. This is what active installation. Thank you. It's very long time today. Okay. Firstly, thanks to everyone. I hope you learned a lot of stuff.
Yes.
Good, sir. Now see, one instance is running on node 2, one instance is running on node 1. Node 2 is also active, node 1 is also acting as active. Both instances are active, right? So this will call it as a active installation. Active installation. Like same for this, I need to install passive also, right? For this instance, I need to install passive, right? Yes or no? I need to install add node to the failure installation for this instance, for dev instance. Almost it is coming online, sir.
So like window installation is the same for Active-Active also.
Sir, sorry?
Window cluster installation, it is same for Active-Active.
Windows cluster installation means, sir, I'm not getting eyes.
No. I mean, suppose I have to configure Active-Active clustering. Okay. So for that, window clustering, is it same or?
Oh, Windows, yes, sir. On
Yeah.
top of Windows failure cluster only, right? You
Yes.
are installing.
Yeah.
Sir, you can install one more instance. You can install one more instance. You can install one more instance. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Done. Our installation is done. Now for this instance, I need to install passive, right? Let's go and install the passive. What I need to do? Add node to the SQL Server failure cluster installation. Close it. Okay. Close it. Now see, I'm installing add node to the failure cluster installation. Active means multiple instance. Active passive means single instance. Sir. That's it. The plain answer. The- See, for this instance, node to node 1. For this instance, currently node 2 only. Now I'm adding node 1 also. I'm adding node 1 also. The one core with 2 GPs, fine, sir. You can do practice. Okay. You can do practice, but don't create any databases, nothing. Don't do anything, sir. Just to practice configuration. It will work, I think so. Okay. You will save some amount, sir. Okay. Everyone, is it fine, right?
Yes.
Sir, SQL is a SQL. That's it, apart from nothing else. That's it, sir. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Good day. Good day. Okay. We discussed a lot of stuff. Don't miss tomorrow. Tomorrow we are discussing massive stuff because installation is done today. So tomorrow we'll discuss more concepts. Okay, more concept. Preferred owner, possible owner, look alive, is alive, properties, cluster properties, services properties, resources properties. We'll discuss more on the concepts, sir, so that you will become strong. Failover, failbacks, and accessing. We need to access also, right? Tomorrow we'll discuss access. That's it, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. Have a good day. See you tomorrow.